It's the Odd Couple coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. It's easy to save 15% or more on your car insurance with Geico. Go to geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. The only hard part is figuring out which way is easier. We got our next guest. He knows a little something about Super Bowls.
Just a little bit.
It is widely regarded as the best defensive back of all time. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, NFL Network analyst, and you'll be able to catch him on the NFL Network's NFL Game Day, Prime Sunday, following Super Bowl 54. None other than the great Deion Sanders. What is up, brother?
Man, first of all, I'm happy to be amongst greatness.
Uh-oh.
I watch y'all cats, man. Y'all put it down.
Thank you,
First
man.
and foremost, y'all tell the truth. When the truth can be skewed at times, but you still do what you needs to do to get the job done.
And you know what?
I love it. I love
You
it.
do
that,
too. And
That's right.
No,
it
you
is
definitely
that.
do.
You do. And not a lot of guys. Chris and I talk about this all the time. The reason that a lot of guys, former athletes, don't make it is they're not willing to do that. You know what I mean? You
But
can't
that's
be
the
friends.
first thing they ask you,
Right?
Yes.
when you go for the interview. Will you be able to tell the truth?
That's right.
Now, there's an area of protection that we must have for things that we know.
Yep.
You know, we probably put 95% on the table. It's another 5% we have to hold back because folks will get in trouble.
Right.
That what we
I
know.
No, I know,
get
right.
that.
yeah,
Right.
but I'm saying
that.
y'all
I mean,
know that.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
But 95% we got to give it to them.
How have you, as a former athlete, and you got friends in the league, you
Yeah.
got mentees in the
Yep.
league, you got coaches that you may have played for. How do you still, sometimes if you had to call somebody out you're close with, how do you deal with that?
I do what I got to do. I tell the truth. Keep it 100. But you got to understand, the difference is I'm not malicious.
Right.
See, I'm not trying to call you out to make myself look better, to use you as a stepping stone. That's when guys get upset.
Right.
When a reporter or someone of the past use them to come up. I'm not using you to come
That's
up,
right.
man. I'm just telling truth. This is what truly happened.
Right.
And this is the way I see it. And this is the way it was. This is my perspective. But I'm not using you. That's why the gate is always open for me to come in and talk to young cats, because they know, hey, man, Prime ain't got no motive.
Right.
Before we get to Super Bowl 54, and we'll get into that, I got to push back on your take on Eli Manning.
Okay.
I heard you basically say that he's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
correct?
Okay.
Okay.
Let me spit
Help
this
me with
straight.
this, because I heard the take, and I was like, okay.
No. What I'm saying is, first of all, if you know history, you know I love me some Eli. Everybody know I've been riding for Eli for years. What I'm saying is, what is a Hall of Famer? What has that become? Once upon a time, it was a dog that separated himself that we wanted to reach in our pocket and go see. That was a guy that changed the darn game without a shadow of a doubt. We didn't second guess when we hear Mel Blunt's name, or Jerry Rice, or Night Train Lane, or some of these guys. We never second guessed it. Now we throwing out names that we saying, for real?
You've talked about that with baseball.
So,
Well, see,
what I'm saying, if we gonna
No,
do
no, no,
that,
I
if we
agree with
gonna do
that.
that, Eli should ride.
Okay.
If we putting it down like that, but if we're not putting it down like that, when you talk about a darn Marino or Montana, you got to start flipping these names out.
Right.
You know, and some names don't match up. Even defensive guys, some stuff don't match up. Now it's open house
I agree with you. And
with
Chris-
coaches as well. It's open house.
Right.
We talk
Right.
about this all the time on the show because I have a baseball Hall of Fame vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that. I said, if there's a debate about you being a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. It should be the best of the best.
So you shouldn't have told me you got a baseball vote.
Why?
Because why Barry Bonds ain't in the Hall of Fame?
I voted for Barry Bonds every year.
Roger Clemens ain't in the Hall of Fame.
They're both going to
Yeah,
get
so
in.
these
you know
cats
what?
just got in,
I
and
know.
okay. First of all, before there was an accusation, the man had 3 MVPs at the crib.
Right.
And Pittsburgh.
But before any accusation, 30, I mean, he had all that. 40, he had all that. So just forget the later years. Let's just focus on these. Why the man?
We
ain't in the
with
Hall
you
of
on
Fame?
that.
We are.
Thank
We
you.
both
I
with you on that.
appreciate you.
And you know what? I'm glad you went there. You obviously were great at baseball and basketball.
That was good.
Through high
Baseball,
school.
that was good.
Well,
That was great.
But I've said, had you focused on
Yeah.
baseball, I think you could have been a Hall of Famer.
I do
Looking at
too.
what you did,
I do too.
doing it as
I agree.
a halftime, as a
I agree.
hobby.
And
I
I
agree.
and
Okay.
I covered the World Series when you were playing football and coming back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a
playing
great
baseball.
series.
Right.
That was a phenomenal series. But this is what I want to ask you. Since you were a star high school in all 3 of the major sports, nowadays, I was just talking with Stephon Diggs, They're telling kids at 9 years old, focus on football, focus on basketball. How do you feel about that?
Once upon a time, we looked to the coaches for love and support, wisdom, guidance, chastisement, focus, and all that. Now the coach is looking at us to come up.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, it wasn't like that back in the day. So the coach, the 7-on-7 guy, the trainer, all these guys, the AU guy, they looking for the come up.
Right.
It's not like what it used to be.
So what they do is they find a young kid and they say,
no,
you can't play
yourself
baseball, you can't play football, you're going to play basketball 24/7 because you're going to get in the NBA and get me rich. And that's what they do to these kids.
Once upon a time, coaches coach multiple things.
Right.
So they wanted you in multiple things, and coaches had the wherewithal once upon a time that as long as you stay in multiple sports, your GPA and everything is going to stay adequate because you have to be eligible.
Right.
All year. But nowadays, man, we just want you to focus on one thing. If you do the other thing, you're not going to start over here. That ain't right. How can a man tell you what to do that ain't done nothing himself?
We get joined by the all-time great Deion Sanders, NFL Network analyst. Obviously, it's a tough week for everybody with Kobe Bryant's situation, tragic death. One of the things I've said that was most devastating, there were many, but was that he had made the transition from basketball to life after so smoothly. You've done it as well. How tough is that, though, for an athlete, particularly a superstar, who's always in the spotlight, to move from, your sports life to something else?
It's for some, it's tremendously difficult because you got one or two ways. You could leave the game or the game could leave you. Now, most guys that the game is left, it's hard to transition.
Right. Right.
But when you leave the game, it's an easy transition because it was on your terms.
Okay.
It was on your terms. Most
people, guys probably get left by the game.
Right.
90% of guys get left. Even some guys that get out, they still wanted a couple most shots at it. And it's tremendous when you come home and your old lady don't even look up. But you go in the sports bar, everybody clapping. So now you're saying, so this is how it is?
Right.
So this is how it's going to be?
Right.
I'm serious. I've had this conversation before. Now, baby, when I go places, people look up.
It's all love.
Right.
Can I come home to that?
Right.
Or you ain't coming home. And that's what it is, because you go in to search for love. And it's tremendously tough for a multitude of players understanding life after, because oftentimes we identify with the jersey, with the logo, with the NBA or NFL, and with the name on the back.
Right.
We identify with that, and we don't know who we are. So now you starting over life at 35 or 30, football players, not understanding who you are, trying to find identity.
We talk about this all the time. Like, all of a sudden, you're not in the league, you don't get the dinner reservations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People all of a sudden
nobody
be like,
clapping no more.
Ain't nobody. And
nobody clapping no more.
It could be devastating.
When you used to hand claps. That's why you can't count on them claps, man.
That's right.
You got to clap for yourself.
That's real.
You got to clap
That's
for yourself.
Real talk, man. This Super Bowl, I imagine you pulling for San Francisco. You one of your former teams.
One thing about it, I don't pull.
Okay.
I like good football, man. I like really good football. And this matchup here is unbelievable. If I start talking about KC's offense, I got to talk about San Fran's defense. If I start talking vice versa, San Fran's defense or San Fran's offense, I mean, I got to say KC defense now been one of the best in the league over the last several weeks.
Right.
It's so many. Both tight ends are phenomenal. Both quarterbacks could handle up. And when we're hoping Garoppolo can do what he's shown us he could do. This is a matchup, man. I really look forward to this.
You got a pick yet?
No.
But doesn't it always come down to defense, though, when you talk about winning championships? I've seen great offenses, and I've always seen, like, that Tom Brady Patriots team was 18-0, scoring 35 points a game, and they got in that game. And if you remember, pregame, Tom Brady chuckled when they said, "Oh, you're only going to score 14 points."
Right.
You remember that?
Right.
And the Giants wind up winning that game.
It does. Some kind of way to come to defense. But, man, these guys are used to putting up 30 and 40 like for breakfast, man. This is going to be – I think it's not going to be a low-scoring game, I don't feel.
Okay.
I think it's going to be in the high 20s at least. And it's going to be some enormous big plays.
Deion Sanders, NFL Network analyst. You can follow him on Twitter at Deion Sanders. And on Super Bowl Sunday, NFL Game Day morning on NFL Network, provides 8.5 hours of pregame coverage from Miami starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. Deion.
Oh,
I got to
great
go.
pleasure,
So I came here for that.
We
just
would
that.
love to have you longer,
But tell you
man.
what, man.
We can have you on our show.
We got
We'll get you on.
Yeah, I got to do this because y'all
Okay.
good brothers, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
My folks got the numbers. We got to do this.
All right.
Because I love
Great.
chatting it up with y'all, man. Y'all
Great.
keep it 100.
Thank you,
God
my
bless
man.
y'all.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
You too.
What's happening, y'all? It's Chris Broussard.
I'm Rob Parker.
And we are
The Odd Couple. Check us out as often as you can on YouTube.
And always remember, I'm Oscar and he's Felix.
Oh, man, are you serious?